Oh no, they won't let me play videos right now. And that's pissing me off. Okay, no, but here is like total Trump country. Like I think if you look at all the 50 states, the percentage here was higher than anywhere else. But they're good people, and they're not like, I mean, it's not like you don't see conflict, and I used to see they would have like 20 to 40 people. Now this is not a big town; it's like 22,000 people, which really to me looks more like 10,000 people. I don't know where they hide them all. But so it's really not a big town. And they would have like, 40, 50 people out here on the highway, on the main road with signs, Trump signs every weekend. But yeah, but you never see, even after the election, the initial election, when the election occurred, like 2-3 days after, I'd go up to Walmart and you'd hear people talking about it, but they weren't like going, oh, this guy doesn't even know what the hell he's doing. I'll just tell him first. Yeah. So anyway, man, we need to. We don't have the intro, so they're having problems.
We're straight up it.
They're having problems at Restream. I don't know what the hell's going on here. Well, we're on. Are we live on Facebook? My phone died. My phone died. I think it's dead forever.
Live in Starseeds, live in Soulogy.
Okay, we're good. Yeah. Okay, they're coming in now. Yeah, my phone died today. I have lots of important information. Yeah, I want to talk about this. I think this is perfect. That's why I love this show, because everything seems to happen in perfect sequential, synchronicity. But I saw your post today. I saw your post. Let me apologize first for not being here last time, because that was the third time in 3 months that I said I can't do it. I was just like, I can't do it.
Brother, completely, and that's the way it should be. It's like, if it's meant to be, it's meant to be.
I agree. Yeah, and you took, and the other person, I forget who it was, they were just like, man, don't worry about it. It was David Manning. And
of course.
But and so many times I pushed through to the point where I feel like I'm a seal in a circus act, with the beach ball. And it pissed me off every now and then, but that's my choice. But most of the time I can push through, because once I sit down, I'm okay, after a while. But anyway, yeah. So I was looking at your I wonder if I can say this right. So I heard, and you may have heard too, I just want everyone to know, I heard, hello, Genesis Boyd. Oh, wow.
Getting a phone donated.
Yeah, I'll reach out to you. I just saw a great picture of her and her daughter. It's beautiful. What was I going to talk about? Oh, yeah. I was going to mention about Michael Mejia and the Mejia family. I heard, through Morgan, through one of our friends, that, heard something, which was, they're dealing with what's happened, and sounds like they've gotten a lot of support, and I just wanted to mention that, and just prayers, peace, love, and comfort to the Mejia family, very special family, and of course to the matriarch who transitioned, and to the father who's suffered a stroke, and he seems to be doing okay. But anyway, I just wanted to mention that, because I know we're kind of in the same circle there.
Of course.
And but. And I know Michael and Israel, and they would just want us to keep marching on. So that's what we do. But I was looking at some of your posts, not just today, but over the last 3, 4, 5, 6 days. Like, what was the one you did? You had me cracking up. And I never mark posts. I just go through them. But you had me laughing. It was something.
You need to remind me. Because I have no clue.
Well, you twisted the words of something that's been said, and you flipped it. And I'm like, oh my God, that's genius. But I'll pull it up and see if I can find it. But yeah. So I wanted to tell you that, like, so whenever Soulogy was given to me, the name was given to me. This had been March the 10th, 2012. Then I was told, go open the Soulogy group, and then go open SOULSPEAKS One Studios page. And so there was a gradual thing. But if I remember correctly, which I do, because I have a pretty good memory, most of the time. There was some basic things. In fact, they showed me a hand, and each finger had something. So, and it's too early for me. I know it's almost 12 o'clock, but I was up late last night with all of the nature spirits. So there were, each finger was a certain initiative within the hand. Only one of those has not been really put into fold, has been put into motion. And that one's called spiritual activism. So they gave me these words, and I just wrote it. Yeah, it is. You just automatic write it, and it's been sitting there all these years. I think it's still the same flow from that original thing 8 or 9 years ago. So as I'm looking at all this stuff and having these amazing lucid dreams and taking into account like what you're writing and a few other people, I'm like, okay, I think I know what spiritual activism means now. It's not like fist in the air. It's basically, and it's not calling out bullshit. Okay, because that's pretty hypocritical to me. I mean, I like, we all got bullshit, But what I think it is, what it is I'm getting my arms around it, and I'd like to get your opinion on this. It's like the space between that's not in my field to remembering that, hey, one of the reasons I came down here is to wake up myself, wake up my brothers and sisters. Some of us have a role, like you, like me, that we put information out there. We try not to be opinionated. We try to just lay out the truth frequency. And I think that's what I'm getting at. So I don't think it's calling something out. I think it's laying the truth out there. And I think that can be done without pointing at any particular person, going, whether it's a Trump or a Biden or a friend or a foe that's posting stuff on your page or whatever the case is. I don't think we have to do that. And this is where I'm at. And you are very sly because you're right. I'm pretty good. I'm pretty subtle. And I try to be, I try to come around, not in a deceitful way, but I try to be diplomatic.
Yeah.
You are funny. Like, you say things and you get it. I get it. I get what you're saying, which is where I'm at. So this is what I want to touch about. So the thing is I get on this, the news feed, and I see people making, and I'm just going to say it because it's early in the morning and I'm not really wanting to deal with any bullshit, my buddies here. But, frankly, these people, anyone, I'm not pointing at anybody, but the level of extremism, the level of disempowerment, okay, that I see out there, and this is more than my judgment. I'm going to say that. I am told, I was told in a lucid dream not 3 hours ago, okay, get the fucking keys, get out of this box and take whoever you can with you, because if people really look at what they're putting out there, like, if you don't agree with this, get the fuck off my page, or these really extreme polarizing things. If you look at that, it is such a sign of disempowerment. You think you're in your power. A bully thinks they're in their fucking power, but they're not. They're insecure, scared little kids. So this bullying and this, oh, I'm a big bad person and I'm here and I'm a light worker. And like Sandra Walter said last week, take your crown off, right? I mean, hey, it's okay. We're all going through this together, but to come out of this community where we think that we're leading the way, and to stick it up someone's ass or block them or unfriend them or talk shit about them like Marco Lepore did to me, and I don't have any problem saying that because I consider him as much a brother as you are. But don't fucking bring that shit to me. And I just violated my thing where I pointed somebody out, didn't I? But don't point your finger at me because I said politics has nothing to do with awakening. There's a Martin McNicholl-esque type of message behind that don't take everything so literally. And I'm not talking about my situation. I'm talking about everybody, you know, the need to be right and all that stuff. So this is what I wanted to jump into, was because I know I can see it in your post. I can see that you're saying, hey, you know, that's a hot potato, and you're turning it back on the person. And that's really the message. And when somebody makes a hard statement or even comes out and perpetuates unsubstantiated rumor and bullshit, okay, like this, for instance, you got this video and this, and I'm not, everybody knows I'm apolitical. I am not tied. I don't believe it. I don't believe in it. My issue is not with the political party. It's with the government and the powerless powers that be. But if you look at this video of the Biden, supposedly the Biden motorcade going down whatever the street is in Washington, D.C., and all the military turned their back, who the fuck took the video? How do you know that video was in their caravan? How do you know it wasn't somebody that was 20 minutes before or 20 minutes after? You know? And Photoshop is a huge thing. I'm not saying that there's not deception and all this stuff going on. We know that. But by God, don't give your power up to some pie in the sky. You might as well wait for Jesus to come down on the chariot with 2 lightning bolts in his hand and blowing smoke rings out of his ass. Okay? Now I'm going to hand it over to Martin.
Oh, that's the way the intro. I love it. But you said there's one word that you said there that's for me, and it's key, and it's empowerment. And I just see a whole lot of disempowerment, like you. And again, I'm not going to point to any individual, but I see a whole lot of disempowerment and a whole lot of just giving your power away. And we talked about this savior complex and stuff before, and we talked about it in August time, and now it's coming to roost. Now it's coming to like fruition, and it's like that every post like that I'm doing, like they're just given to me. I could be doing like chopping wood or doing something random, and it just jumps in there, and I post it, and I forget, because that's when you say it, I have no idea unless I go back and I have no idea. But that's the huge theme. That is the huge theme, is disempowered, like really investing themselves in narratives, whatever that narrative is, whatever, you know, it doesn't matter if it's the one that's most prevalent now, or it's the opposite one, or it's another one. There's so much. What's been given to me recently is like, there's a whole lot of people thinking they're going to get to this place called 5D by defeating the baddie at the end. They're like at the, you know, in a computer game, they got the baddie at the end. They're like, and they think they're going to defeat this and this good and evil storyline, and they're just like, you know, again, compassion, but it's like, it's so far from what unity consciousness is. What my understanding of, firstly, that 5D is not a place, and it's not somewhere you get to. It's somewhere that's inside of you, that's already here, that becomes apparent when you match it. But the idea that you have to overcome evil, or you have to defeat something or someone outside of you, is just the ultimate of disempowerment. And then, like, the polarization now, there's a purpose behind it. You know, that's what's going on. I'm going to get blunt as well, and I would not normally say this, but I'm going to say it as well, just because you've done it.
I'm honored.
You've started it. I believe, this is my personal, what I'm seeing, that there's influencing people purporting to be highly evolved beings, and I'm going to say that they are in their heart, they are not doing anything deliberately, but I believe there is manipulation, there is smoke and mirrors, and there's messages and influences coming in that's purporting to be highly evolved, and I'm going to say it's lower fourth dimension, maybe higher fourth dimension, that has an agenda of splitting people apart. It's clear to see, you know, that an opinion or a judgment, but just look at what's happening. Look at this split. Are we closer together after this awakening event last year, or are we, as a kind of a community, polarized? You look to the experience to tell you, and I'm saying that because I've had the experience multiple times, and every time there's this theme of aggrandizing the individual or the beings, or this kind of good versus evil, or this, this fairy tale, stuff. And to be honest, it just never washed with me. I mean, but it got so intense. I can say, like, the first guides that I work with, and they've been with me since the very beginning, non-physical guides, and I don't have visual. It's more auditory and feeling. And that feeling to me is so just knowing, just a truth. It's just so apparent. It's just so, I doubted at the beginning. I was skeptical for a long time, and I still have healthy discernment. But I've had experiences where, because this feeling, this is not like a voice or a vision that can be very easily manipulated. A feeling is a feeling is a feeling. You can't really, but I've had experiences where, let's say an energy has purported to be this group of guides that I've worked with, and I've been taken in for a moment with the feeling, even with the feeling, not like words. And then it's like shifting, and then just something didn't feel right. And I was like, wow, if this can happen in feeling, and like something that I'm so comfortable with, and like just no issues whatsoever. I just feel there is influences that can, and I'm not saying people are doing it deliberately. I'm saying they are in their heart, but I feel there is energies that are influencing people, and some very big people with quite big followings. I'm just going to say it. So
yeah,
you started.
I agree with that, and I think too that if you anyone that looks at, let's just say, the last 6,000 years, right, or even the last 2,000 years, from the Roman Empire, it's very obvious that the modus operandi has been to create conflict.
Of course.
Right. So be it war, be it in a household, you can go back to the Dead Sea Scrolls, Nag Hammadi. Over 25% of that of those scrolls talk about the archons. This fourth dimensional nefarious energy that cannot manifest, it can only distort and influence, right? So, and there's all kinds of narratives that say the same thing. The jinn, there's just all kinds. But the bottom line is that what you're saying is right. Our weakness is in our separation, and our separation it's up to us. Okay, it's up to us. So who would you rather be at odds with? Okay, somebody in a foreign country that has a different culture, color, and creed, because you've been conditioned and they've been conditioned that the United States is an enemy, and that yours is an enemy, your country's an enemy. Who would you rather, if you had to? Because in the best of worlds, I don't want to be separate from anybody, but I know we're in a tough kind of situation. But I would rather be united with that person in this country that I've been told to hate than these fucking assholes, or whatever this energy is that's been controlling and secreting away these esoteric knowledge. See, I don't trust the narrative. I don't trust I'm going to be blunt about this. I don't trust the government. I don't trust the Republicans. I don't trust the Democrats. I don't trust Trump. I don't trust Biden. I don't trust any of them. Because how do I know that they're not puppets that are basically playing a role? So if I look at the Trump side, and I could say the same thing about Obama or Clinton. Where's the fucking evidence on 9/11? Where's the evidence on JFK? We were told all the 50 years had been passed. We were told all the material would come out. It didn't. Who are they covering for? So let's not even get into that. We know somebody's been sticking it to us, all right? Let's regain our sovereignty. How do we do that? I don't know. There's not a template here, but maybe what we need to do is explore the possibilities and stop taking the bait. Because it's not going to take the majority of the world to turn this thing around. It's going to take a very strong minority. And I'm going to even say silent minority in a new way. Not silent like the old term, silent as in we walk in peace and grace and power. And we are like Forrest Gump in a bubble because our energy is so powerful. They can't touch us. They cannot touch us. And the last thing I'm going to say about what you said in terms of let's just say higher intelligences influencing us in this realm. Very true. And it's been going on since day one. We're made up of a myriad number of aspects. Some are light, some are dark. However you want to explain that is fine with me. If you think it's a devil on the shoulder and an angel on the shoulder, that's fine. If you think there's a Satan and Christ, whatever. But still, there's one thing that I thought was becoming abundantly clear in this awakening where there's no bullshit, okay? And that is, I am a sovereign, free soul, okay? I have free will, and there's nothing outside of me, okay, that can make me do anything. I'm ready. You know, I wrote these words too 9.5 years ago. Many times in the writings, I'd sit up from the street and I would say, I'm prepared to die for the truth. People would be like, what are you, crazy? You know, no, I'm not. I'm an eternal soul. What the hell are you going to do to me? Right? I mean, this is important. I think it's important. And I'm tired of turning on the YouTube and hearing the same old shit. I saw one last night. 4 prominent people on a show after all this stuff that was supposed to happen didn't happen. Now, these are people saying this is not going to happen. This is not going to happen. This is going to happen. Then what happens? Nothing happens. Oh, well, there's this picture, and there's a picture of behind the window of Biden in the White House, and there's a truck out there, and Trump's walking by, and what the fuck, you know? And so I'm not knocking that, but this is what got me on the thing. Was one of the people said, well, Biden did this, and Biden did that, and Biden did this, which to me means nothing. And he says, that's fear programming. He's putting fear into the people. Now, this is the same person who just said on the show that I was watching, asking one of the other guests, do you think that they can take our souls? I'm like, give me a gun, let me blow my fucking brains out. What are you talking about? And now you're going to sit there and say that this other person is creating fear-based program. What do you think you're doing? And what I want to be careful not to do, right? I mean, so this is like, we need to talk about it. I'm sorry, there's a big elephant in the room. Maybe there's a whole herd of them. Yeah.
There is, and I want to like elaborate from what I shared and just and take from what you shared there as well. Is that, you know, what do we do with? I believe this is perfect. I believe everything that has happened. So these beings that I referred to, and you know this well because we've talked about it. I see that as me. I don't separate. I'm not saying these various beings that's separate from me doing something to me that can harm me. No, they are us. They are us. They have an agenda, and they've had a certain role to play, and they have played it amazingly well. Right. But what's happened now? So what do we do with this? Is that as a collective, we have been completely disempowered. We've given our power away. We've been waited to be told what to do. We want a savior. We want, you know, this to come out, and then I can be happier. Then I can be myself. But what's happening now? There are certain beings that are playing roles, which I'm being given. They're agitators. Yeah. So a pearl. The pearl just starts with a little bit of sand gets inside the shell, and this sand just keeps agitating and agitating and agitating, and eventually comes a pearl. Piece of coal under pressure becomes a diamond. There's agitators now, and what they are doing is showing where we have given our power away as a collective, and that is going to fail those who have put their power into that so that they can find their power. So if they put their power into a story, a person, a disclosure, or whatever it is, and that's what's going to save me. That's how I'm going to ascend. That's how blah blah whatever. Put it in there. That has to fail those people so that they come into their own. So they find their truth. So everything that we externally put our faith or our story or our worth or our value into is set up to fail us so that we will find our true power. So I think it's perfect.
True.
But it also, like you, we have to call it like it is, because there's so much where it's just been like the divisive, what you said, like divide and rule is just so simple, and it's so clear to see that divided we fall, in unity we are risen already. But it's like people don't see that. They think like, I'm right, I've got this right, I've got insight and intelligence, and you don't, and I'm going to overtake you. And it's like we have to call it, and then see, right, why is this here, and what can I do with it? So if this has failed me, now that's so because I'm supposed to put my faith, my trust, my knowing in my sovereign self, not something else, someone else, some fairy tale, whatever. And that, like you, it doesn't matter to me if everything everyone is saying is true. Both sides, it's all true. It just matters.
It is true.
What are you aligning with? What is empowering to you? What reality are you following? Both sides is true. Everything already exists. So what are you following? Are you empowered or disempowered? Are you feeling separated from the collective, or are you feeling more empowered and coming closer together? That's the way I look at it. So, but we do have to call it. I think we have to speak to it, because, like you said, it's kind of not spoken, or it's spoken in anger, or it's spoken in defense or attack.
Yeah. Like, this is one of the things, like, I was a little bit, I really liked this David Icke interview. I really did. It was a great hour. I didn't have any expectations. I was really surprised, pleasantly surprised at how he described everything, how information isn't negative or positive. It's just information, right? Like, this is a person who's, I've seen him get and rightfully so. That's why I said, how do you stay so, how do you not be pissed off and angry all the time? But what I'm trying to get at is that like, for instance, what he said about, I said, well, there's conspiracy platform, disclosure platforms, and there's a starseed platform. And he says, look, people ask me what I am all that was, is, and will be.
Yes.
That's it. I'm having an experience, and I'm following my guidance. Now, this goes back to what you were saying earlier. I totally agree with you. There is not and I've seen some pretty nasty stuff. Now, this is going back a few years. I'm talking about entities, smelly, big, ugly entities. Yeah. I mean, I've had, I've been, and I'll be straight with you, I've been raped, sodomized, pissed on, beaten, and this shit was real. Okay. And, I'm talking about being in an apartment, and the door slams shut and locks, all the lights go off. Next thing you know, I'm on the floor, spread eagle, getting, the business. Right. So, but this isn't about, oh, don't go in that place. And, this isn't about ghosts and things that are more powerful than us or me. This was ordered off Todd's menu at the restaurant before he came down to earth. I want to do it the hard way, or whatever the case is, but that was me. Okay. At some level, that was me. And I know that that's hard to understand depending on where you're at. But here's the thing. How many of us have overridden the guidance given to us by our team? You're going to sit here and tell me that 100% of the time when the stuff comes in, that your mind or your gut doesn't get in the way out of fear or overtalk. Oh, you can't do that because this or that, right? So that already goes to show you that if the most benevolent, friendly, loving part of our energetic field from a higher level of intelligence and knowing can't get us to do what it wants us to do 100% of the time, no, nothing can. Okay? We are that. We are the gods and goddesses in the flesh. And this is no game. This is no, there's no owner's manual. There is no template. We're making it. So do it for not just who came before us, but who comes behind us, because the wheel will keep turning, right? So I totally agree with you. And I'm looking for a way to do what I'm supposed to do, and to collaborate with people like you that are converging missions, right? And
Yeah.
so if I look at the situation and the whole world was on pins and needles and you could feel it, people wrote about sadness and of course the other histrionics, all right? But here's the thing. Let's just forget about the 1%. Let's just talk about, and because I know people, that's a little harder to understand, whatever. But even with them, like you said, they're actually doing what they think is right. These people actually believe, right? Both sides of the equation believe they're doing the right thing. The Nazis believed they were doing the right thing. Attila the Hun, Genghis Khan, Alexander the Great. I get so sick of hearing people with this nationalism, primarily in America. I'm not a fucking American, okay? Shoot me. I am an Earth citizen. There are no borders. There are no passports. And I want to become part of the galactic family and lead my brothers and sisters with them, hand in hand, into this higher intelligent community that we are part of. We remember the ETs call us the ones who forgot they were gods. All right. So, it's an all or nothing proposition. And I don't know how to get there. And I want to get there with my brothers and sisters. But when it comes down to what we started talking about, which was calling stuff out without pointing fingers, you can easily look at the media. It doesn't matter who you're for, okay? Because it's pretty one-sided. Censoring. You want to censor Donald Trump? Censor everybody else. You want to censor Todd or Martin? Censor everybody else. Otherwise, fuck you, okay? Because we're not going to play this charade. This is a Stockholm syndrome, all right? So we're going to let you back on these few platforms, but not these over here. These are for the good people. Fuck off, I mean, seriously, this is where I think we're going to come down to, is where the personal decisions are going to create the collective experience, but it's not going to go it's not going to go the way everybody wants it to go until everybody walks the walk in their own experience, day to day, moment by moment, where nobody's looking. Like that thing about integrity. Integrity is not, what people see, it's what they don't see, right? Something like that. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Yeah, you always get me fired up, man. What's wrong with you?
Well, you started it, so we had to follow it. The energy's here, and this is what it is. And like what you're saying, you want to do, doing what you do is what brings it out, and sharing what you just shared. That's what brings it out, because what's been left in the shadows cannot ever be left there anymore. It won't be left there. It's coming out. And like we talked about this before, and my personal experience with what you're talking about and working with other people in those ways have been, and direct experience of the darkest stuff you can imagine on planet Earth under the surface. And that is ongoing, mostly out of body. But what I want to say is that you and all those that I have worked with in those ways, those are the ones that are speaking about unity consciousness. Those are the ones that are speaking about, these experiences happen, but I'm here to transcend. And I've seen some incredible beings who have been through the most just unspeakable things within the human experience, and they are the ones that are most compassionate. They're not the ones that's out shouting for, I don't even really want to go into the narrative of what people feel like is going to fix this by revenge or punishment or all of these things, the energy that created it, basically. And those are the beings, and like just what you're just sharing, that's what's going to create an opportunity, and people will start to see, oh my God, like these people are here and in that, and they are looking to unity. They're looking to come together. They're not looking to go back. They're not looking to stay back there. But what's happening is that, let's say that the influence, where I can see the influence goes for our deepest fears
Mhm.
or goes for our deepest wants or desire. That's what they're doing. They either go for your deepest fear or they go
Yeah.
for the dream. And they feed either, whichever is the most prevalent for the person, the deepest fear or the deepest desire. That's where
Yeah.
the energy is flowing, and that's where the suffering is coming from. For all, it's like reaching for pleasure and avoiding pain.
Mm.
We are
Mm.
conditioned to it from the beginning, and now we're being given an opportunity to see that. I feel it's a perfect storm. It's literally a perfect storm now, where people
Yeah.
are discovering that they've put so much into externals and they're
Yeah.
looking for something out there to shift or change that's going to free me, or it's going to change everything, or the event's going to happen and magically everything's just going to be. This is what I was thinking about this week. Imagine, many of the people that had, like, either side. One side got whatever. There's so many different sides. But do you believe that the consciousness of humanity has shifted enough for what we know and many people know to be truly uncovered and laid bare in front of them now? And I asked Elise this, and she said yes. I don't know. I'd like to ask you that,
That's a good question.
because that
Um,
will not happen unless the consciousness of
I agree.
humanity.
I agree. I agree.
And
That's a
last
great,
year was
that's
the catalyst.
yeah. Uh, I saw something yesterday. One of the few things I've seen out of this, uh, political mix of, all these different energies. Somebody just simply put, and again, I am not red or blue, none of that. I don't care who's president because I know it's perfect, you know, whatever. But they said the one thing you can say about, and I'm going to change the words a little bit, the energy that Trump represents, or whatever you want to call all that, is that they woke up 80 million plus people or whatever the number is. So I think there was uh, some of that going on, but it also shows you how much cognitive dissonance is out there. And this is to your question, and how few people 80, let's just say it's 80 million or 100 million. That's a fly on an elephant's ass in terms
Nearly
of the
8 billion.
yeah. So who, I don't know. I don't live in China. I don't live in Russia. I don't know. But to answer your question, I would say probably not.
Mm.
But we are in a quantum environment,
Yes.
and information is moving extremely fast, faster than it ever has. And we've got these young people who are already coming in learning at warp speed, and they're just like, da, 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 so they're actually a frequency that's, I mean, we ain't got nothing to worry about. That's the basic, if you want to get back to it, because they're not going to dumb down the young people. But yeah, I think that's a very good point, because if we look at our individual lives, and we've all been there too. Like, give me more. I was just like 2 weeks ago, like, give me more, give me more. They're like, you're going to see more of us. We're going to physically appear more. And I'm like, bring it on. They're like, oh, you're not ready for that. Now, that's just a metaphorical example, but I honestly think that in my own case, I feel that what you said is, what you ask is very relevant. But where that has the most meaning for me is in terms of my power, like my power to instantly manifest, like I do in the lucid dream 3 hours ago, you know, or my power to teleport. I mean, think about our history. It's not our ancestors. Our ancestors, you might as well call these beings around us that influence us our ancestors, because Atlantis, Lemuria, that was us. Egypt, that was us. And what happened? See, the only difference between what's going on now and what's going on then is that we have the experience of them, of us back then. And what happened? It was the same cycle every time. And we're at the same crossroads. But what seems to be available now is the opportunity to transcend. to transcend the illusion, to transcend the conflict and all that stuff. But I do think that the question you ask is a great question. It might be the best question there is. Are you ready to see all this stuff? And I do think what's happening with the COVID and the quarantines and the things related to that is people are getting to the point, and they're saying, you've heard a lot of practitioners on this show say it over the last couple of months. So many people waking up, but I think people are getting to the point where they're going to say, rip the fucking Band-Aid off. I'm done. Show me what it is. Pull the curtain back. Yeah. And I think that's one of the it's paradoxical in terms of what the intent is of the quarantine, or the intent is of control or whatever. But people are going to, I go back to what you said earlier than that, when you said, the name of the game is to find your own power. And we are aspects, whether we look at them as angels and devils or, multiple dimensional aspects of ourselves, they're going to push our buttons until we step into our power. They're going to push us out of the bird's nest like a good mommy bird will do, and let's just, one more thing too. Most of us, and not everybody is clear, whatever you call it, audient, and then clear, all the different clairs, right? So not everybody gets it the same way. But I think everybody has this feeling they're not alone. Something is working with them. Something's communicating with them. Some people have had more in-depth experiences where they can specifically identify different consciousnesses that are part of their composite. I don't know about your experience, but my experience for the most part is each one of those aspects has a certain specificity, or we might say agenda, or they favor a certain, a certain something, or specialize in a certain something. So, that to me, again, leads back to my personal sovereignty. I've had transmissions come in and they're pure gold. But I've also got other ones going too, multiple streams. We all do. And we still have the choice. And I see it that way. Our choice, as I see it, is to merge our free will in this very dense environment with universal will. And universal will is an ascending, moving target. Yeah.
I love it. I love it. Fire, 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 fire. And I feel like we are... Like, the reason I asked that question is not to be negative or not to think like that it's the opposite, but just looking at, and I get the quantum thing, and I'm with you. I'm completely, and everything I've shared and that's come through me is there. But just at the moment, not even the light workers or awake people are ready to come together. You know what I mean? We're talking about unity consciousness. We're talking about uncovering all the shadows. We've talked about it many times. We're talking about coming together, seeing yourself in everything. If you can't see the God in all, you can't see God at all. If we are not ready at that as the ones who are awake, which you were talking about just before we go, that's what tells me it's not a negative thing, but it's just like, look at that. So, someone that has no, like me 10 years ago, that has no idea about any of this stuff, and you're going to tell me you're just going to dump all this. No, but I'm with you. Quantumly, it's already happened. It's already done. Yeah. But in the timeline and in the frequency that we're following now, it seems to be those who are awake are separating, are, they're not agreeing. They're not coming together.
Yeah.
And that's perfect. And it's fine. It's just, I just wanted to point it out. And it's just something that we had a little conversation. And it's a question. It's just a question to see. And what the question is not about other people. It's about you. Are you ready? Are you truly ready to meet your darkness? That's what I would say to anyone watching this. And I know you are. And I know I have been and am. So that's what I ask. And are you ready to embrace you're the fullness of your light? That's another question. Like, it's not just one side.
Yeah.
It's like, are you really ready to meet the darkest dark that you can imagine and can't imagine? And are you ready to embody the fullness of your light? Yeah. Ask yourself that question. And then we can start. Then that's empowerment, because then it's nothing to do with Martin, Todd, presidents,
Mm.
dimensional beings. It's nothing to, it's like, am I ready?
Yeah.
Ask yourself that question. And if you are, you will know, and you'll be ready, and you will. And that's what it takes. Collective change happens on individual basis.
And I think personally, our biggest distraction, it's not, is there going to be an event or whatever, all the different narratives, the humanity saving narratives. I think the biggest distraction we have is our belief systems. Now we've come through the same maturation process. We all have. We've all gone through energetic childhood, adolescence, and so on. And part of our part of the pattern, which is totally understandable, is we have had a belief system that was thrown upon us, or set of belief systems. We get out and we expose ourselves to more code, information, experiences. We find a belief system that has a broader expanse and we replace the other one, or it just becomes part of the bigger one. But at some point, all belief systems go, right?
Yes.
And so flip around this. If I think that, and I'm just going to use an example. This is not about Q, and it's not about Hitler, and it's not about, okay? But if I say to myself, because I see something and a bigger belief system is presented to me than what I'm currently running under, and it says that the military is in control, okay? And everything is cool. I can go out and I can find information to substantiate and rationalize this. And I can get embedded in my belief system, and I can plateau until the universe comes in and kicks my ass and makes me move on, right? But what I can also do is I can also seek to dismantle my belief system. I can also find information that's rational from my own mind with what I gather, that can challenge my belief system. Malcolm X, one of my great heroes, he said this. Now, this was a devout Islamic man, black man from America in a rough time. And he said that I study everything that opposes my belief systems. I'm Islamic. I read the Bible from front to back several times, he did, and so on with other books. So expose ourselves to the possibility that what we believe is not real. Now, if I use the example of this narrative, and I'm not saying it's true or not true, I'm just trying to use an example. This is Todd. Todd looked, and this is true. Todd looked at it and goes, okay, so the military is in total control. They recruited Donald Trump. They've been working on this thing for 50 years to offset the military-industrial complex. I know it's a story at some level, but at some point, I'm pulled in, and I admit it. Where does this fit? Should I even be going down this rabbit hole? Now, what I found was, anyone that's done any research into secret space program, if you do any research into the secret space program, you go back to, let's say, World War II era, and you follow the different streams, you realize that this world is made up of different factions. You got the Dragon family, you got the monarchy, you got the Vatican, this, and that, right? Then you got the military. It's got the same design. If you look at the secret space program, the Air Force has their own, the Army has their own. So you got 4 or 5 different secret space programs that are not even united. So how in the hell is the military, you're going to convince me, or am I going to convince myself that the military is united, right? They're united, and they're they've got it all under control. They're not even united. They're fractionalized, just like everything else here. A copy is a copy is a copy is a copy. So this goes back to the same thing for me, is, I want to close as many doors as I can, so then I can put my because there'll be more than one, my streams of consciousness into more of a singularity. that makes it easier for me, because I don't think as gods and goddesses I think we were genius in that we designed something that could be perceived as very complicated by our own overthinking. But at the
Yes.
same time, I think the gem is that it's a very simple thing. I am Martin, and Martin is me. And I have never done it with Martin, but I have pulled up so many people. And just recently, I mentioned one of the names here, and I shouldn't have done that. That was my bad. I pull these people up. When they made me uncomfortable, I pull them up every single day on my phone or on my computer, and I look at them in the face on their Facebook page, and I say, I go through this process of, until I can look at this person right here, Martin McNicholl, and I'm looking at myself, and I accept everything in him, as I've done with Morgan Lee, and Morgan Lee's done with Todd Medina, as you've done with your wife, and so on. This is why these connections are so important, because these connections, you cannot get to oneness with 3, 4, 5, 10, 20, 100 people if you can't even fucking do it with the person you're with.
Exactly.
Oneness is oneness. I accept that woman. She accepts me. Does she like the fact that the studio looks like a teenage boy's room and everything else in the house is no, but she accepts it. So this is what I'm getting at. This is
I see the Martin in you there.
right. I look right. I look at where your belief system. Why are you stuck on this? And why don't you research something that would challenge it versus something that's going to substantiate it? Because at the end of the day, do I want a friend who's going to tell me what I want to hear? Or do I want a friend who's going to tell me the truth? The universe is my friend. Okay. I want the truth, So
Absolutely. And this is what the power of consciousness, like consciousness is the source of everything. And we are, through our belief systems, if we follow a line of thinking, a line of believing, consciousness will provide everything that supports that and blank out everything else that doesn't support that. So that's how consciousness that's how this illusion is created. We're followed. And I totally agree with you. Like where we are going, where we already are, but we've forgotten, belief systems do not exist. There is no belief systems. There's no opinions. There's still, like we talked about before, there is still discernment. There's still the ability to choose, but you can take a stand without taking a side. There's not this or that. It's this and that. It's not here or there. It's here and there. So consciousness is that powerful, and consciousness is the source of everything. It is that's the only thing that is, and it is powerful enough firstly, it's powerful enough so that it can shield itself from itself. That's how we exist in terms of the illusion. So we, as that form of consciousness, can shield realities from ourselves and strengthen others purely by what we focus on. And I love what you shared there, is like, because things are so polarized now. That's what Malcolm X said. That is so important for people to do now, to begin to look at what if the diametrically opposed, opposite viewpoint to me is true. Then what? What happens then? And what I would share is that then you become, I am that which is aware of opinion A and opinion B. I am not opinion A and opinion B. Then belief systems drop. Then suffering stops. Then you recognize yourself as consciousness. Everything is consciousness. It's made of consciousness, and all of the aspects of Todd and Martin and the world and all of this are just modulations, or they're just reflections of this consciousness. And it's not right, wrong, it's not good, bad. It's just simply what is and what we make it mean.
Yeah.
So, and then you would ask yourself then, why has that belief system taken me? And I know I've done this, and I totally get you. It's like, and this is what I feel, is because let's say one of those storylines really speaks to our deepest desire of unity, of freedom, of everything coming, or it speaks to our deepest fear. We're being controlled. It's going to get worse. All of these things, these belief systems that separate us, they feed our deepest fears, or they call to our deepest desire.
Yeah. 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 That's what you said at the beginning too. And that's a great point too. I never heard it said that way, but our fears and our desires, that's where they get us. That's where we get
Yeah,
ourselves.
that's
Right?
where we get us.
Exactly. That's where we, and you know, it's like, so I even heard someone say the other day, and I know this is something I have to work on because I'm getting agitated. Right? I'm getting agitated with people giving their power away. I don't have a problem, and this is just me. Okay, this is. I'm not trying to lay anything on anybody. I'm just trying to share with you where I'm at, for hoping that I can find, because I'm realizing the more time goes on, when something comes into a soul's aware, a human hybrid soul's awareness in this realm, there, because of the fact that it's a quantum field now, there is a potential for instant transformation just based on hearing something or speaking something. So maybe there's code in here, and I'm also looking for to refine the alignment of Todd. Okay, so like I get so tired of this nationalism. You know, I saw somebody say the other day, and the reason is not because I'm anti-American. I'm not anti-American. I'm anti-exclusivity. Okay? You're not in this group over here. We are. And I'm anti don't make excuses. So I saw one the other day, and the guy said, yeah, it's in the Bible, it's biblical, and he was talking about all this stuff, and I'm watching this guy, and he's a pretty credible guy. And I'm thinking, where's he going with this? Well, capitalism is going to meet communism, and capitalism is going to win. I'm like, fuck capitalism. I live in America. Fuck them. They're gonna. We have these what do you call it? Stimulus checks, right? $600. What the fuck are you gonna do with $600? $1,400. I lived on the streets for 2 years. I saw the real people. I'm just a small representative, but I know what's out there. Don't sit there and tell me you're in there in your gold-plated toilets, you know, and you're going to sit there and tell me that capitalism works and competition's healthy. Bullshit. Bullshit. Okay? So these things that we latch on to are let's say the mouthpiece for it. I don't have a problem with that. Where I'm looking for solution and a higher level of alignment is my problem, because I'm offended at how it's disempowering people. And that's my problem. And I've got to work that out. And I've got to figure that out. See, I can figure stuff out. I think you can relate to this, and most of us here. I can go to the highest perspective, and I can look down on the earth. I can look from above the galactics, and I can see all the way down. There's polarity. People don't think there's polarity in Arcturus or Andromeda. Now, they're higher levels of collective consciousness, but there's still the give and take. It may not be as extreme as the Earth. The Earth, this is why the Earth is a bloodbath to us, but it's the greatest show in the universe, and that's a fact. You got to have big balls to come down here. You really do. And so I just try to flip everything on myself to see, because I realized a long time ago, every time the universe shows me something, it's not what it looks like. It is, but there's another side to it that is as equally true. It's a paradoxical teaching method where you take both sides into account to get a third definition, if you will, or a greater meaning, or very similar to the template of the triad or the age of the Trinity. Because you got two sides, they come together, they produce a third one, and then I think that's what our journey is here. And above all else for Todd, you know, Todd's work, I feel like I know that we didn't just come here we did not come here to just go, oh, I'm a God in the flesh. I have this Akashic, and I was Jesus' son in a past life, and then all this stuff, right? No, we came here to say, wow, now what do you want to do? What do you want to do with this? Let's play. You know what I mean?
Mm.
I mean, seriously, let's play. What would you do with that? If you were a god or goddess, look, I know, because I've seen my higher self, and I know he's not. The gods drink, smoke, and fuck. Okay, the gods party. The gods have happy hour. The gods go snow skiing. The gods. The this is a place that we, the gods, goddesses, we have come to experience something we never could. So even the conflict and the division and the extreme emotions and all the stuff that bleeds the human, that's a gift. That's a gift to the universe, but it's not just going to leave us out there. We didn't design something to leave us out there hanging. It's a gift. It's a mission and a prize. And the prize is now. The prize is, what can we do? And the last thing I'm going to say is, I've heard so many people say in the last few weeks on this show and otherwise that we've gotten to this point now where well, let me put it this way, that whatever you think, here's another flip, like whatever you think the worst could be, oh my God, martial law and this and that and vaccines and concentration camps, whatever, flip it. Now think about the possibilities, not in a fluffy way, but think about this. Just as we can't comprehend how bad it can get, we can't comprehend how good it can get. And whatever is going to happen, this is what people have been saying, is something far beyond our level of comprehension. So when I say quantum field, I don't mean that there's that the playing field is different in terms of where we came out of, to the extent that certain things can't happen. What I'm trying to say is that it can change instantly. The first person that starts to fly through the sky like Superman without a cape, and that day will come. Then it's going to be 2, then 3, then 20, then 50. And we're one soul away from breaking any energetic door down to freeing this world. One soul can turn this world around. This is not fluffy love and light. This is my opinion, though. Yeah.
I'm with you. I'm totally with you. And I think the key thing that from what you just said for me was, about, you're saying like the God's party, and this is like this is what the issue has been over time, is like God is one thing and not another. Conscious is everything. Separation is separation is separation. And if separation is built in, you can guarantee there is suffering. You can guarantee there's going to be limitation. Like you said, everything already is. We've dreamt it. We've dreamt those flying dreams. It's already so. It's just not this dream, what we call the waking state. So as soon as it's the separation. The separation is the virus. Yeah. Separation is the only virus. It's the only virus that has ever been. And that is the only thing that we find the separation within self. Find their separation between you and apparent other self, you and the world, and recognize that you are not experiencing the world and other people. You're experiencing your thoughts, beliefs, and perceptions. That's what you're experiencing, not the world. What we see is just a thought. It's a perception. It's the feelings that are, consciousness is primate. It's primacy. It's before. So, like you said, it's instantaneous. It's already so. But our experience of it will be dependent on what having conversations like this, really taking the separation out of, the divine and seeing that everything is divine. Yeah.
Yeah, I think, I guess too, the thing about the quantum thing is that, so I was told 9, how long has it been? 9.5 years, 10 years. When I reawoke, I was told from the beginning, create your way out. Like I'm walking homeless on the street. My heart is blown. It's got a huge hole in it. My kids are gone. Everything's gone. My dignity's gone. Right. I mean, so I'm literally walking. I've told you this before. I mean, I'm taking step by step in faith and survival, half soul, half human. But I kept saying, like, because, you know, when you're in a situation like that, and we've all been there. We've all been there. I know back in your previous life that you had to have moments like this. I know you did, because I've been there. You know, I've woke up when the serotonin's gone the next morning because you know, balled out the night before, and you go into an irrational fit, you know. But I was told I'd be like, I'm going to push this button, everything be okay. I want to push this button, everything be okay. They're like, no, 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 no. You just one step at a time and create your way out. And so I'm like, create my way out. I'm not even at that point in my life. I'm like, I don't have an artistic bone in my body. Like, no, create. Just imagine your way out, and then take the steps towards that vision. And then, of course, this is what happens. And so one of the things that I've been playing with, and you know this because I taught you about it. Now, again, this is not about Todd. This is about seeking new venues of communication, of code generation, right? And I love what you said, because the virus is separation and the antidote is unity consciousness. And I know that sounds new age, but that's the fucking truth. So this is the same thing. I've been putting these remixes together. And when I do that, I don't propose to have a lot of gifts, but I have a gift when it comes to, when I broadcast, I download. And when I download, I broadcast, right? So I'm immediately plugged into the field, and it's not necessarily just the people that are watching in that moment. It's replays, it's the whole thing, right? And I can see the symmetry, and I can see what works. Now, again, this is Todd in the etherics embodying, trying to infuse something into, because I know that is the antidote. The antidote's contagious, just like the virus is contagious, right? Yes. But what I noticed, I play with it. I mix like you walking on a spirit walk to a little music with a little spaceman behind you, you know, or you throwing up the water next to the beach in slow motion, and putting music behind it. Playing my friend Paul Sims, his ambient beats with badass video, you know, and then blending in Judith Kuzel's voice and image. So I play with all this stuff, and what I'm starting to see is that I can run 15 to 20 minutes of light language, of a visual with music, a very minimal verbalization. And people are going, whoa, what's that? And for instance, I don't get much on Periscope. I did it last night. I had a 20-minute stretch, no words. What happens? 4, 5, 8, 9, 10. Never had 10 on Periscope. Never had more than 3. But so what I'm trying to say is that we're not restricted to our known methods of communication and interaction. Play with it. Play with it, because don't underestimate it. It's no different than the Wright brothers saying we can fly an airplane, or the dude says I can break 4 minutes in a mile. It's no different. Play with it, even if it's in solitude in your room, and you want to take your clothes off and get a bucket of ice water and throw it all over you and run around like a banshee, you know, whatever it is. Don't underestimate that, because that's creative life force. That's what creates not just offspring, it creates new planets, and it does new universes, new solar systems, new species. This is the real deal. This is what the whole shell game has been about. Everything out there is a distraction. And I know that sounds cliche, but you and I are the focus. We're the focus. So if we spend all of our time looking for stuff to substantiate and rationalize our existence and our belief systems and our looks, you know, and our reputation, why not get in there and dig down a little deeper than we thought we already had? But let's go deeper and really get down into what we really are. Because I got news for you. Whatever is out here is in here tenfold, right?
Absolutely.
It's the truth, and I'm gonna go to my grave.
That's why it's said over and over again, be like the little children. The children have the keys to the kingdom of heaven because it's play, because it's wonder, because it's awe, because it's excitement. It's fresh, it's new. You don't take baggage with you from the next moment. They're just pure in the moment. That's what they're here to teach us. And that's what we're like, that's where that play comes from. That's where that like evolving creativity, it's effortless and it's playful, and that's not what most people are focusing on. There are many that do, and there are many that really are good at that, but I think we all need to be reminded of that. I know myself as well need to be reminded of that very often, and I get it continuously from guides. It's like, be like the children, be like the children, play, don't take life so seriously, have fun. Like, even here we'll have a laugh. We might be talking about some deep and dark stuff, but we'll have a laugh, and that opens up a new potential. You know,
It's true.
You gotta have a laugh.
I drive Morgan crazy, not so much anymore because she's gotten used to it. But I come on here and I'm, I try to be, and you do it a lot, so you know what I'm talking about. So you do, and you ramp up sometimes, like you've been ramping up lately, because I can't even keep up with what you're doing right now.
Neither can I.
On my list to download. But what happens? So I come on, and like I told you before the show, sometimes I have to push myself to come in, and once I turn it on, I don't have a choice, and that's the way. To me, that's like a physical representation of my choice, or my existence in life, because my life is choice point, choice point, choice point, choice point. Now I can either say, man, I can't do it, like I did the last time we were supposed to come on with you and David Manning. I'm like, I can't do it. I just can't do it. I just can't do it. I'm sure I could have, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm too, but what I'm trying to say is, when I make the choice in the 97th percentile, 95th percentile, whatever it is, 90th, whatever it is, and I step through, it's not necessarily a fear. It's simply, where am I going to be when I've made the choice? Am I going to be in bed resting? That might be the right choice, or we're going to come on. And what I'm trying to say is that these choices that we're making really don't have anything to do with anyone else. So we're in this field of potential that I will call the Trinity, where two or more gather, okay, where the antidote is unity consciousness, where the transformation or the transcendence is stemming from duality and separation. But I can initiate part of the developing composite of this third energy we might call the Holy Spirit. We all have had experiences with this non-physical force, be it God, Goddess, Source, or an aspect of us, or it's all one and the same thing. And so, what I'm trying to say is that I am trying to make a conscious choice, and this is not about Todd. This is about trying to find a higher trajectory, more alignment. I have made a conscious choice to do the best I can and pull myself out of the muck, because I have to every day. Yeah. But to make a conscious choice to put all of this effort that I've been putting into the digging and the mudslinging and the bullshit and the gossip and all of the distractions, but to put it into myself and to look for my own distraction and look for my own distortion and look for my own belief systems and start pulling them apart. And I'm not talking about, is America the greatest country on the earth, or did Jesus live? I'm talking about twin flame, divine union, Trinity. Because how do I know I'm not one of 8 billion people in a petri dish in a 6-year-old's bedroom in the science chemistry kit that his parents gave him for Christmas in the year 22561? How do I know? I don't know anything, right? So I want to find out about me, because if I find out about me, the rest is going to come as within, without. We know this. So I don't know. I hope that helps somebody, because I'm trying to help myself, if that makes sense.
To thine own self be true.
Yeah.
To thine own self be true. And when the mind turns back from the world to its source, to its consciousness, it disappears, it dissolves. And then you can face back to the world of form and be anything, have anything, experience anything. But when the mind is continuously looked out towards, this is what I like, this is what I don't like, this is what I want, this is what I'm afraid of, this is what blah, 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 the body, the sensations, the perceptions, the mind is taken away from its source, and consciousness is veiled in a way in which is very convincing, and we think it's very, very real. But like what you just said, turning back upon yourself, that's the ultimate empowerment beyond the concept of empowerment, because that turning back upon itself dissolves everything. Then you begin fresh and you're reborn, you're rebirthed anew, and everything already is. And your perception of it then is not clouded by past hurts, traumas, shadows, all of that. You're coming to the world in neutrality and freedom. And then that's new earth, that's fifth dimension, that's expanded states of awareness. And it's already here. We're just focusing on a part of our experience that doesn't allow us to see what is already so.
Yeah. Yeah. So the thing that we talked about at the beginning is what I mean is the questioning, the calling things out without calling people out, which I violated. There's a certain level of courage. I represent the truth to the best of my abilities, and so does everyone else. Okay? We're all dealing with the same thing. We all have a different perspective. We're all consciousness, and consciousness is perception. So perception from the source. So there's 8 billion consciousnesses out there blending into one collective mosaic that's expanding, that actually has shitloads exponentially of more participants. And as an example, you or me, how many aspects do we have there at this party? It's a hell of a lot, probably more than 8 billion, you know? But what I'm getting at is that the human has a chair of equality. Okay? It has a chair of equality at the round table of spirituality that is my oversoul. And the human is front and center at this point, in this spaceless space, in this timeless time, right now. So we are the straw that stirs the drink at the monad. And it may not be that way next time. We may be Archangel Michael in relation to our next multidimensional incarnation, and we look, oh, Martin, Saint Martin, or Angel, you know what I mean? But what I'm trying to say is where this is all coming down to is taking us to a deeper level. And I guess the closest word I can think of is courage, right? So one of the things, and I want to just run this by you, and then I want to propose something. But this is a perfect example, and I'm speaking from the heart. We have a lot of friends out here. There's a lot of esteem. There's a lot of credibility and invaluability that our brothers and sisters represent. Every day, I have tremendous respect. I love Judith Cassell's words. She goes, when I do a soul reading, I'm always amazed at the depth of the soul, that comes out during the, okay. So for instance, one of the things I've been afraid of, okay, is to answer the question or to provide a rebuttal to those very formidable frequencies out there that said there's a spiritual war going on. I got 2 years of galactic war downloads back in 2014, 2015. I know some things, but I also know that was then, this is now. And I also know through my own personal transmissions that unity consciousness is unity consciousness, and there is no, right? So to answer a question like that, is there a spiritual war? I thought about this the other day, and I actually said it on a show, and I said, the spiritual war is here between, and it's not a war. It's just a misalignment, or I'm not even going to say that, because that basically suggests that something got, something that was whole got made unwhole. I think it's an opportunity for alignment of the heart and the mind, and maybe there's more to it, like the soul or the lower chakras or whatever. But I really think that's, for me, that's what the spiritual war is. I certainly can't buy into, the concept that's out there, that's prevalent on the earth. I don't know. So to me, that's a perfect example for me. I know that I need to address that, and I find that a little bit scary, because it's tender. It's a fine line. It's like a tightrope. But I do think that this is what's happening to all of us. I think all of us are being presented with stuff that we can break, that we can knock down a huge domino, not just for ourselves, but for humanity, by stepping through these fears. And it may look like something very minuscule, but it's not. These are powerful, energetic initiatives that we take, that the boldness is the genius, right? I mean, that's what makes it happen. Yeah.
Maybe that's the post that you were talking about. I wrote, or it was written, the light warrior has no external enemies, and it has no war to fight. It's everything is the warrior of light is this, the inner enemies, apparent enemies, and it's this. There's no war. There's no fight. The fight happens on the external illusory part, but the warrior of light doesn't have an external enemy. It only has internal illusions of fight, of separation and winning over. So maybe that was one that was something that came today. But I'm totally
that's probably it.
Yeah,
I plagiarized you. No, but I think that was it. See, because when you write, and I love it, because it's I guess it's what I've tried to do. We're always hard on ourselves, right? But I can see when you write, it's not the words. The words are like the so it's like when you make a tea or a coffee and you put sugar and milk in it and then you stir it. That's the words. The words are what it looks like. But if you go into it, there's layers of this and layers of that, right?
Yeah.
And that's what I love about expressions like that, like you do and others. Yeah. But I think that was it. You're right.
Yeah, it's the space between the words. It is this. And so much of what is shared is speaking on different levels of consciousness that I am not aware of, but I know that it's received at the level of consciousness that whoever is to receive it will receive it. It's so, like you said, the words are only the dressing in the window, but it's peering into something deeper that will uncover within each individual. So yeah, is there a spiritual war going on? Yes, no, and both. It depends on where you point your focus. It depends on whether you're arming yourself or disarming yourself. It depends on whether you are done with fighting or you're ready for more battle. So that might seem simplistic, and but for me, that's the way it is, and I know because I've been in battle with myself, my whole life, and battle with the word, and I'm at the point where I'm ready for no more battle, because the only battle is in here. So,
me too.
Yeah, that's what I would say.
Yeah, me too.
And what did you say? You said you were going to propose something. It's kind of
see, now I'm already getting scared. I was going to say. So, by the way, somebody early in this conversation said you should talk to Carrie Yvonne, and she's coming on in 30 minutes. I thought that was, I love that. The sequential aspect of synchronicity. That I don't, you know what I mean? It's like every day you have these things that are presented to you. It's more than synchronicity, and it to me is a huge validation. Yeah, it really is. I think there's a lot more of us than we think, flaws and all. I think there's a lot more of us than we think. I think there's a lot more people that have subjugated their ego, humility, humble pie, whatever you want to call it, getting your ass kicked. That we're way past the tipping point. But to say that energetically it's already done now, we just have to experience it. I think that takes away from the root of this life force energy that created us, right? That we were made in the image of, because you always have the moment. So it's almost like, I've said this before, like, we're riding this big tsunami, and the tsunami is inevitable, but we have the opportunity and the potential to get up on top of it and hang 10, baby. You know what I mean? So, the moment never goes away. Oh, this already happened. We're living in the past. And maybe that's all true, but that doesn't take away from the fact that in this moment, Todd can collaborate with his brother and say, do some light language and I'll do it with you.
Oh, is that the proposal? I love it. Oh my God.
I've only done it like twice on the show, but I think these are the things we have to do. And that's what I was referring to earlier about the remix is I'm watching people and I'm wondering, my human is wondering, are they looking at the screen? Are they only hearing the audio? Like I watch them attach, and it's Romeo Baron light language, and it's Martin by the Sea, and it's, all these different versions of communication that have nothing, that have very little, if any, words. Yeah. And I'm seeing something, and I don't know what it means. I'm just sharing that with everybody. Yeah.
Tia ko in tia ka shu ta ka ampe ti ro ko tu in ta ki shi su ta ka ite ta in ta ki ra pa ke ta I shu so tu kurama anta e.
All right. He anai kai henana. Menahana ke ai lai no. Enai anai na. Manahena na ke nai na wa nai na. Enai Thank you.
Hin su tu kia tai he akape yasa he to.
When I'm with somebody, which has been very few times, I've done it with Morgan. I gotta say, those are sexy moments. but what I was gonna say is, I actually feel like when this happens, and I'm still got work to do it publicly, obviously, but I always feel like I'm gonna throw up.
Yeah.
The first time it happened to me, I was in Sedona a few years ago, and I was driving from this little suburb right outside of Sedona, and you have to go up this path of like 6 miles, and it's all grandfather rocks. And then I'm driving this friend of mine's car. She let me borrow it, and all of a sudden I thought, oh my God, I'm going to get car sick. I'm going to throw up. And I look up into the grandfather rocks, these formations, and I start to see, which I'd seen before, but not driving a car up a winding road, up a mountain. And I see all these faces, and they're like, welcome. It was the first time I went to Sedona. They're like, welcome. And all of a sudden, I thought I was going to projectile vomit. And all this stuff started coming out. I thought,
yeah,
holy shit.
This is what I feel, that nausea is like you're you're letting out like 1%, and there's this like avalanche, this like tsunami, like you talked about earlier, and I can feel it. And I've experienced it before, because I know we experienced it before, and it is just raw power and like just epic. That's all I'm going to say, is epic and power. And you're just opening the meter a little touch here. And I feel, I know what it's like. I resisted this, like even with Elise, I didn't want to do light language for 2 years. I was like holding it in. I'm not doing this. No, I'm not doing it, even in front of her. And then it just got to a point like where it just got to, I couldn't stop it.
Yeah.
Same with the vocal channeling. 4 years it took me before I would actually do it and let it happen. And then it just kind of overtook me. And I just feel there's just a big tsunami. And I've experienced it. I know I've already experienced some of it, but it's liberation you feel. The liberation you'll feel when you let that out.
Yeah. Well, I for me, it's more, it's a lot of things. Everything is multiple meaning, multiple purposes. But for me, what I was getting at, and the reason I wanted to propose that today was because, whatever this evolving experience that we're having, this collective consciousness or whatever, it responds to us when we engage it.
Yes,
it does. It absolutely does. So that's really my motivation, is to, not just in this instance, but is to put stuff out there boldly, and not focus on the imperfection. That's why I love spontaneity, and that's why I love improvisational stuff, because I see the power of it. I've lived the power of it. I'm part of the power of it. There's something about my makeup that is to push that. And I think that's, for me, that's where the real, that's my motivation, is to see that energy or that frequency or vibration put out there, and then watch people pick it up and remix it, right? As a DJ would understand.
Absolutely. And the spontaneity, like that's all I can do. If I try and plan something, like we never have any idea, but would never expected the kind of the way this conversation would have went today, because it's not like, it's completely different, and that's perfect. That's the spontaneity. And then you bringing up light language, that's like, it's amazing. This is where it's at. This is the cutting edge. This is the leading edge. This is where it's all at. And when we plan things and think about it, and how is this going to look? And that's why I just show up. And anytime I try and plan something, it's a dud. Can't do it. Cannot do it.
It's true.
It's in the moment. True. That's the magic.
Yeah, that's crazy too, because I was saying about the remix thing. So, and I told you before, I put a channel feed together. So I've started and stopped many times and I couldn't figure it out. It's like, what is missing here? And what's missing is the field, right? Like the sensitivity to what's being grabbed onto, what's falling, you know what I mean?
Yes.
So I had to go into a different state to do that, to almost act like I'm doing the broadcast live. That is what I'm doing, and then do the mix, right? But I found that even that is not as powerful, and I see it every day. That's why, like, you doing a spirit walk, or like, I love that one by the beach where you throw the water up, because it's totally unexpected. It's totally like different. It's there's so much power in that, and to me, that's what this whole thing is being driven by, is the the fortitude, the embracement, and then the expression of the human part of us, the human. We're not getting this back. It might be part of our makeup as a celestial being or divine being or spirit guide or whatever, but we're not getting this back. I don't want to go yet. I want to raise some hell, like only the light can, and push the envelope Because what's that thing by Atticus? When I arrive to my death, I want to be very tired and a little drunk.
I love that. I love it. Yeah, yeah. It's
Something like
amazing.
that.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. A life lived, a life, a
Well,
full out. Like I'm inspired even hearing your words, and I don't know. I know that quote, but yeah. And every day we need to hear that. Every day we need to hear that, and now more than ever. And everyone individually, like that could look very different for each person. But if everyone's even for like the power of the human, like you said, if they're even at a small percentage of living that out in a day,
yeah.
the shift is incredible. And we need, and like you said, like the 4 minute mile, and it's like one person does it, it breaks the mold, it breaks the belief system, it takes off that veil, and then more, and one does it, and three does it, and exponential growth. But we, as wayshowers or light workers or whatever, all the labels that we use, we need to walk our talk, like you've said many times. And I feel like I have different roles, but that's ultimately what it comes down to: is walk the talk. Whatever the belief system, whatever the focus is like show up.
Right. That's
Show
right.
up feeling shit, show up feeling
Yeah.
angry, show up feeling expanded as an extended mass, whatever, but show up and walk it.
Right on. I love you, man.
Love
I
you,
love you
brother.
very much. And I look forward to many, many collaborations in the non-physical, virtual, and the physical.
There's
And
a whole lot going on in the non-physical, as you know. Oh my
shit,
God.
no kidding, man. I can't even tell you what happened 3 hours before I got onto this thing in the lucid dream. And also, I just want to say, I speak on behalf of everybody. We love you guys. You guys are a physical representation of divine union and the golden child. And that is a powerful, powerful, contribution to the collective experience, and it's an honorable one. Let's make this one last distinction. We all showed up. We were chosen, but we earned it. So to see someone like your family out there physically, I love this word Morgan made up, trinitized. But it's a it is. It's a frequency. It's a bandwidth of multi rays, and thank you, all three of you, for that.
Thank you.
So on behalf of everybody, because I know they feel the same way.
I just quickly on that, like I used to get a lot. People would say to me, "You came to me in a dream, and you were doing this and that, and there's some activation, and it was amazing, and blah blah blah." That has kind of, it still happens from time to time, but now all I'm getting is people saying, "Angelo came to me in the dream. He's just lit me up. He's done this." People saying like they're sat in, like he's in lotus position on a cushion, and he's teaching all these and activating them. Like I'm getting it continuously now that he's doing so. I know we've provided an entry point for him. He's kicking my ass big time at the minute, to be honest. Oh my God!
What do you expect, man? It's like
It's possible, but it's not easy. I'll tell you, because
I'm sure. Well, wait another year or two. I mean, this is another one where you don't have a handbook, but it reminds me of back when I was in my old life, and I got my first big promotion, and the big boss came down to where I was stationed or whatever, and took me to lunch to have a beer. And he says to me, so whoever you get to replace you, are they going to be better than you? And I said, come on, man. I'm the best one you got in 75 offices. What are you talking about? He said, wrong answer. I was like, what? He's like, yeah, that's wrong answer. Who's going to create that person or that energy that takes your place? You are. So wouldn't you expect him to be better than you? I'm like, you know what I mean? From an energetic standpoint, that's why at the end of the day, I'm not worried at all. Not that I'm worried, but I know that there is a wild card, that's involved that none of us spend enough time looking at. You might, right? But really, and that's these kids.
Yes.
Because of the speed at which they're learning, as we did when we were kids, and then we went down, right? Until the internet came back. Then the speed picked up again. So they got a double whammy. I think their frequencies are going to, and that's what I was told. I was told that in 2012 when I was given the name Soulogy. You're going to have to bust your ass for 5 or 6 years, those and those like you and those like you, and then the kids are just going to take it away. Boom, it's done.
I'm feeling it. I'm feeling it.
Yeah. Well,
the greatest leader is not the one with the most followers. The greatest leader is the one that creates the most leaders.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And everybody should remember that, especially me, because I go out there and I look at the contemporaries, I look at the other platforms. I think, how in the, I even had this thought the last 2 days. I was like, I'm going to start, because it just says, Soul Speaks 5D Martin McNicholl, right? And I'm okay with that. But every now and then I get weak and I'm looking over here and I'm seeing all these, 100,000 views, and I'm like, okay, don't fall into that. Yes. But yet last night I got a little pissy and I was thinking, I'm going to put up one that says global reset or, some of these other sensationalistic type of topics
that speak to the fear or pull the desire. That's what they do.
Exactly. And I thought, no. Well, see, this is part of the paradox that I was talking about. What you just said is extremely powerful. A person or a group, as an example, that can put their stuff out there, that cannot be attached to the old measurement system from 3D, right? And can have that faith in the whole, is going to be much more impactful than Elvis up on a stage with 100 million people watching him with a clear message, right? I mean, it's true. This is what's happening. Our axes are turning upside down, but it's not regulated in specific only to the physical Earth axis. It's the entire kit and caboodle. So we could go on forever. I got to prepare for another show. I love you, man.
And love you too. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah.
We'll see you soon. Much love.
Right. You take care. And tell your son to go easy on me, will you?